Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to queue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. Dalien is here with me. Hola, Dalien.
Did you catch that? That was my telepathic greeting this morning.
Oh, yeah, the awkward silence, everyone. Yeah, that was Dalien telepathically telling you all good morning and good day, I believe.
Well, it looks like an awkward silence from the outside. And on the inside, there's
on the inside, you guys were seeing fireworks, right?
Yes.
I feel like that, Dalien, that was a setup for today's story, huh?
A little bit. The awkward pause, however, that was a real thing that this comedian Craig Ferguson did on a show. He was one of my favorites when he had his late show or whatever it was that he no longer has.
I think I remember his name.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever saw it, but yeah.
Yeah, he would do a awkward pause with his guests where they agreed on it, which made it a little less awkward, and go. And, and then they would sit there for like a minute.
And just stare at each other.
Just staring at each other, and the audience would be giggling.
That reminds me of when I was a teenager, my dad would tell these awful, corny jokes, and I'd be like instantly, maybe at the dinner table, or there'd be people around, I'd be like, shh, 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 everyone, just be quiet, stare at him, and make him feel like a fool. So he still talks about that. He still bring that up. Like, remember when you used to stare at me and make me feel like a fool? Well, it didn't work. But yeah. Anywho, well, let's see. What have we got going on today? Let's. We got a review. Of course, always makes my morning getting up, having coffee, checking, and seeing someone giving some love, some feedback, and completing the circle, as I like to put it. We're putting this labor of love out into the world, and reviewing us helps us to reach new people on iTunes. This is from KB, and she said, I absolutely enjoy listening to this podcast. It's become one of my favorites. I enjoy the content about positive living, and I love the host. They're funny, genuine, and I love the way they can be a little goofy. Thank you guys for enhancing my days. Or a lot goofy, just depending. Thank you, KB, so much for sharing. That really is means a lot to us as well to get that feedback. And what I would like to ask any of you guys to do, if you haven't reviewed, please do so. And, our aim here is we're not getting rich or anything like that. But our aim is to spread the positivity. It truly is. It feels so good to make a difference or get that little bit of feedback that we're really helping someone. And you guys know it. Whenever you've done anything good, a good act of any kind, it just feels so wonderful. So we're just really grateful to have found a medium that works, for our personality types, and people are resonating with it. So we would love it if there's an episode that you really resonate with and you're enjoying it, help us to spread the positivity. Repost on social media. You can easily repost from positivehead.com, one of our episodes on Facebook or, Twitter or any of those things. And that would be really very much appreciated because, you'd be helping us to get this message out there. Or if you know a particular friend or family member or something like that that could use it or would really resonate with it. And of course, a lot of you guys are already doing that. So thank you so much. Our listener base continues to grow, and it just feels really, really good to touch and connect. And speaking of that, so I was watching Dalien last night. There's a new Tony Robbins documentary. He's always been really private about his events that he does, like Date with Destiny, which I went to actually, let's see, a year and a half or so ago. One of my, very dear friends actually insisted that I go, sent me to Australia to go. And actually he's in the video, Shane and Ruby, they go to a lot of Tony events. And so it was really cool to see him there in some of the footage. But I watched it last night, and it just is so inspiring. I mean, watching this guy, he has his own unique approach, style, touching people's lives and making a difference in people's lives. And you guys can watch it on Netflix if interested. It's called I Am Not Your Guru. And anyway, watching it, it really got me thinking more about, what I always say, hey guys, write in questions. I want more questions. And actually, we have a good question today that I'm going to address here in a moment. But what I like even more than questions is connecting. And that's really the reason I ask for questions is hey, I want to connect with you guys. I want to get to know you more. I want to help any way that I can. And so what I've been thinking about, and this has already been percolating and it really gelled last night watching that documentary, is I want to invite anyone out there listening who is willing, ready, and able to embrace vulnerability and actually offer to connect with you on the show. So what we would do is we would actually use Skype. Very easy. It's free if you don't have it. And we would record our conversation. And any advice, any input, any sort of perspective that I can give you, if you're struggling with something, if you're having a hardship and you want to share it, you understand that, hey, being vulnerable, putting it out there, there's probably, we've got, 2,500 or so people a day tuning in at this point, Dalien, and continuing to grow. So if you're willing to embrace vulnerability and connect with me and have a conversation with me, there's going to be hundreds of people that are going to relate to your experience. And who knows, if you're really open, you can even provide, I was thinking it would be cool to provide your email or something like that so listeners can then give you direct feedback. What I want to do is make this more interactive and more the ability to connect more. So any of you listening who would like to have a free counseling session, perspective session, question session kind of thing with me directly, write in through the website, or you can even email me directly, Brandon@positivehead.com. And we'll take a look. I don't know if I'll be able to get to everyone, but, maybe just give a brief sort of explanation of what your issue is, what's happening in your life, what you would like to talk to me about. So, and I'll choose someone, and I'd like to do this, somewhat regularly, Dalien. I mean, this is just a new idea, but I'm putting it out there. Any of you who want to embrace vulnerability, want to share, connect with me, connect with the audience. What a great medium for us to do this, right? I mean, I think this is we could really not only help individuals, but it's kind of like even watching the Tony Robbins event, when he pulls someone up, or one of his events, when he pulls someone up, there's going to be all kinds of people in the crowd, actually about 2,500 people, same numbers, that are going to relate to exactly what that person's going through or have something similar. So it really, your willingness to do this is really saying I'm not only willing to put myself out there, but I'm willing to I want to help others. And that is really where all the magic happens in life, in our humble opinion.
Yeah, Brandon, that's a really great idea. Hopefully we'll hear back from the people. And I encourage you all to take him up on his offer. he's ready and willing, everyone.
Let's do it. Okay, so moving right along, you've got a story, don't you? A mysterious story of the day.
I have a story, Brendan, about telepathy being real. So the story is
somewhat mysterious.
The proof that telepathy is real. No, I'm not going to do it like these other sites out there that claim proof that aliens exist or proof that,
Right.
God is real. Like, no, let's not get too excited yet. No, what this is really compelling scientific evidence. I would say scientific because there's a doctor, Diane Powell from Johns Hopkins, which has been involved in this sort of research in a very serious capacity for a while now. So Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell, she's got her own website, and that's where you can find more info on this, Brendan. Essentially the telepathy project that she's involved in, because she's involved in research at Johns Hopkins involving telepathy. And what the research entails, Brendan, is studies with autistic children, because sort of in a roundabout way, that's where we've come to the realization that telepathy may exist. Autistic children famously have, of course, problems communicating in a normal capacity, you could say, right? So they're non-responsive to typical development cues or things like that. And, by for example, one of the girls that's mentioned in the article, an article, by the way, from alternativehealth.press, which is where we found the story. One of the girls there is already, I think, 10 or 12 years old, and she has only just begun to say letters and numbers, but she can't otherwise speak, really.
Right.
And the thing is, in studies where they're attempting to measure these, children's capability for performing some simple math operations, actually, one of the parents of a girl, Haley, who's featured in a video there, Haley is one of the most sort of dramatic cases, and her parents initially thought that she might be a mathematical savant.
Right.
Because she can't do simple division yet, but when they asked her the question to some fairly elaborate division calculations, she knew them.
Right.
And as she was filmed and studied, by Diane and researched in a more methodical fashion, of course, there's a video there that you can watch where they show a little clip of one of the experiments that was carried out where the researcher was separated from her by a partition, right?
Right.
And only showing her a board with different either letters or numbers in it that she could select. She also had a computer screen that she could also input those same characters into or choose them. And it turns out that she had over 90%, close to 100% possibly accuracy.
Yeah. The one clip I watched, it was, I just watched part of it. I know you went into it a little bit further than I did, but yeah, it was like wild, like 10 digits in a row. This girl just telepathically received like nothing.
Yep. Yeah. And so the researchers begun to realize, they started to think, wait a minute, she may not really be doing the calculations in her head. She may be actually reading them from our minds. Yeah. For example, one of the examples that it mentions is that one of the researchers noticed she had a calculator, the scientist, and she would change the display from regular to scientific notation. The girl would mimic that same difference in her, the way that she explained it. And then, for example, this researcher, she... in her head, she thought, when she sort of came to this realization, she said, oh, okay, I've got a little sort of test that I can conduct. So she asked her to translate the words "I love you" into German, which this person knew fluently.
Right.
And the girl Haley doesn't know German. Right. So she correctly translated the words.
Incredible.
Yeah. So
incredible.
Yeah. So it's just remarkable how this bit of evidence, which Diane explains, is of course, compelling, but not a, I guess, full-on double-blind study is what she would like to do next. However, it's compelling enough to where, of course, she's got on her website, Brandon, DianeHennessyPowell.com. You can find more information on this. There's a couple more clips there, including one, her talking to Deepak Chopra. Yeah. And it seems, of course, that she's plugging into with Deepak Chopra being a fairly, well-known New Age sort of proponent or teacher, advocate, right? Yeah. And spiritual teacher who has a background as a scientist, a medical doctor.
Right.
The attempt to bridge those two things together and to lend legitimacy, give, of course, rigorous scientific control to these studies the article mentions, or I'm sorry, on her website, she mentions Haley and another child, Ramses, which I believe we actually referenced in a previous podcast. Yeah. He was this, child who is also considered a sort of autistic savant, right? And apparently he's also party to these same research and telepathy claims.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I've definitely had those telepathic moments. I think everyone's had something like that where you're thinking it, the person next to you brings it up, or,
I have.
I mean, it's the phone rings, of course, is a famous one. You think of someone you haven't talked about or thought about in a long time. There they are. I know my brother and I have had it many times where I'm thinking about something random and I'll bring it up and he's like, you just pulled that out of my head. I was just thinking about that thing. So it's really cool to see some really hardcore evidence coming forward. It reminds me also of the guy, English guy who they did a special on Discovery Channel or something years ago, and he was able to do crazy mathematical calculations. But in his case, he wasn't reading them telepathically. He would get intuitive signals, like in shapes for each number and things like that, and colors. And he wasn't doing the math, but he was using like shapes and colors and things that he would get. So it's just interesting, these different ways of receiving information, and outside of the normal channels that society has come to believe are so rigorous and firm, and obviously that grip is loosening with more and more stuff like this coming out. So it's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely, Brandon. It made me think of something just then when you were speaking, sort of a analogy for what you could. It's a little kind of a thought experiment on consciousness, because consciousness being a unified field, to me, that explains perfectly how things like telepathy would, in theory, happen, right? But you see the contrast between this very materialistic worldview that says only things that are real, that we can sense or measure or see, etc., exist, right? And you can see how naturally things like thoughts and emotions would be given very little relative importance. They're only, important in the here and now as to what you need to. Well, I don't know if this exactly fits the mold of that, but say you were an aeronautical engineer in the 21st century, and you took the blueprint for like a 757 jet back in time to the Middle Ages, and you like grabbed a villager from a village and you splayed out these blueprints. You're like, this is my flying machine that I can build in the future. And we have, it carries people, etc. Wouldn't they just look at you like you're completely bonkers?
Right.
But what are you then conveying? Just raw information about something that they have no framework for, that appears completely bonkers to them, and yet you understand perfectly how it's all put together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, then moving right along, I would like to shift gears and address a question that we just received. And I opened it up just a few minutes even before we started the show, and I decided I would answer it immediately today. So this is from Sarah, and Sarah says, I have a rather interesting question. I love to sing. Love it, love it, love it. I've been singing since I was in preschool. The teachers would comment to my mom about how much I would sing in class, and have taken lessons and practiced for many years. However, the quality I'm looking for in my voice is not up to where it should be with all of this training. Yes, I know a lot of technical terms and can teach others how to sing well. However, I feel like I am falling short of my true capabilities. I feel like my issue is more than just my technique. I know you guys are not music teachers, and I'm not looking for singing advice, but I would like to know if you guys have any idea about what could be blocking me on a different level. I feel it's something spiritual. I do believe in a higher source, and I talk to them constantly. They have provided me with so many opportunities that are so unbelievable. I'm in a band that just formed, and it's been such a great experience learning the ins and outs of the music world. I am hoping to branch off on my own at some point and create music to help inspire others, as music has done for me. I can feel it inside that this is where my light will shine its brightest. But do you have any idea as to what I need to improve or do in my life in order to sing in the way I want to sound? A side note, it's also possible that I'm not meant to go down this path and should pursue something else. If that's the case, I will learn to accept it and see where else in my life my light can shine for others. So this is one that
love it. Love the question.
Dalien and I can definitely relate and give some input and perspective on this sort of thing. For those of you that don't know, and you can hear about it in very early episodes 1 and 2. I talk about it quite a bit, I think. or one. I can't remember. It's been a while, over a year. Dalien and I were in a band together for many years. I was actually a vocalist in that band. And and Dalien played guitar. And so we have a lot of experience with this particular medium. And I can tell you from experience that one of the things I remember when we started out our band all those years ago, Dalien, many moons ago now, how much joy we had with it. Remember, we were having so much fun and being creative and having fun, and it just was like some of the best memories, right? And then I fast forward, and the band was together for about 8 years, broke up in like 2004 or something like that, and then I remember when we, towards the end, it became, we had a development deal with a major label for a minute, and we were playing with some other pretty big bands at the time. Our bass player's brother was in No Doubt, and of course, so here's this major success an arm's length away, and it went from being this really fun, magical experience to actually becoming a drag. We needed to get somewhere. We needed to do something different. We needed to be better. We needed to be bigger. We needed to be famous. We needed, all these things came into play, and it really caused a shift in the enjoyment factor. And I think this is important. What I'm hearing here from you is so, I think, classic. It's, I love it, love it, love it, as you said, but here's why it needs to be different. Here's how I need to improve. Me as a vocalist, I don't have a crazy strong singing voice by any means, but I would work with what I had. And of course, as an MC, and actually recently have started even making music again because it's such an enjoyment, not to make it somewhere, not to be famous, not because it's got to be different, any of those things. If anything like that ever happens for you or for me or for anyone making music, great, awesome, magical. But when you're doing it because you feel like it needs to be different than it is, I think you're kind of on a slippery slope there. I think when you can let go of the expectation that you need to be doing something different with your vocals than you are. And this goes, this is a great example, singing music, because it's so easy to get self-critical and, insecure and all those things. I've dealt with all of that. And let all that go. Let it go and just love it like you say you love it. Love it for the way it is. Be open to improvement, but don't be attached to it. And this idea of, if this isn't the road I'm meant to go down, then something else. It's like, well, if you're telling me you love it like you love it, or you're not going to go down this road, why? Because it's not meant for you, because you should sound somehow different or better than you do. It's just insane. And it's a very, I guess, normal insane. I know I've experienced it and many others, but I would just tell you to relax about it all and let it be what it is. Be open to change, embrace change, strive to improve, but then release that need or expectation in order for it to be considered proper or good or right for you. That's really the best perspective I can share.
That's exactly right, my friend. Exactly right, because as you, of course, realized, the answer sort of given in the question, and it's the fact that Sarah talks about how much she loves singing and how passionate she is about it. I think that's the clue as to what she should be doing. Anyone should, I would say, be doing what they're most passionate about. There's no shoulds or shouldn'ts, but if you do what you're most passionate about, life sort of automatically starts aligning and falling into place behind that.
Right.
That's what my experience has shown me, and many of people who came before. But on the question of singing, you're absolutely right, Brendan. If you have a passion, then that's going to drive you, and it can drive you all the way to success or anything that you want, right? But on the other hand, if you've got an idea, an expectation, that's not really the same as passion. It's just a concept.
Yep.
And it can be a very abstract one, such as, I know in my head what I need to sound like. I can relate a lot to the, of course, love of singing. I also love singing, and I do it in any chance I get. For sure, if I'm in my head, I thought I want to and need to sound like Steve Perry from Journey, and that's my ultimate goal. I know I can't get there because I don't have the pipes. I don't have his larynx and throat and vocal cords, so I will never sound like him. But over time, I've learned what I can and can't do, right?
Right.
And the thing that I love to do is to push my limits, which actually I find stretches my range and makes me a little bit of a better singer, etc. But it's finding that balance between where you're at and where you want to be. And it's okay to sort of always push and trend towards that ultimate goal, knowing that if you don't hit it, that's fine, because it's kind of the saying we've heard before. If you aim for the stars, then of course, you may not reach them, but you got to aim really high. Yeah, you got to aim really, really high to get somewhere up there, right? And by all means, I would say, Sarah, try and balance your love of singing and your even drive to push yourself to a certain place with this realization that it's not about getting there or else you're a failure.
The path is the goal. The journey is the goal.
Exactly. Enjoy it every step of the way. Enjoy becoming more. Enjoy not being, maybe even falling a little bit short of your target, but realizing that in doing so, you've attained almost everything else really along the way.
You just don't know where it's going to lead. You have, it makes me think back to an Abraham video we shared maybe a month or so ago. And it said, whatever your idea of whatever your greatest and grandest version of yourself is the lowest on the rung of what could actually manifest if you would just get out of your way and let go of these attachments to these ideas of exactly how it's going to be. Maybe you're going to be singing it with your band and you're not going to make it to the top of the charts, but at that show, like our old singer, Brian, well, he didn't make it to the top of the charts. What he did is he met his wife at a show who ended up now years and years later, they have multiple kids. You don't know where this thing that you're doing will lead. Do not kill your love for singing because of this expectation of how you need to be different because you're comparing yourself to someone else. You are your own unique being with your own unique singing voice, with your own unique style. Own that more fully, and you may very well see these improvements you want. You may not. Either way, it's perfect.
Exactly. Yep. That's sort of what I was trying to say. And I think you said it well, of course. But yeah, love what you're doing now and push yourself to become more, but do it always in a spirit of, I love what I do. I love, pushing myself. I love doing it just for its own sake. I love doing it for some ultimate goal. And I love, the whole thing, the whole process. I know that that's what's driven me before.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you as always for tuning in. Those of you listening who were inspired once again to embrace vulnerability, I mentioned, connecting and having a conversation with me directly about anything that you want to talk about, any sort of perspective that you'd like me to dig into in your own life. Like I said, we would do it over Skype, and it's Skype audio, not Skype video. So we won't be blasting your video out there. Of course, we'll just pipe in the audio to one of our episodes, and look forward to hopefully hearing from some of you guys regarding that. Dalien, I decided to queue up a song that is very appropriate. It's an oldie but goodie. And so the song for today, I would like to dedicate to you, Sarah. This is Travis. The name of the song, Sing.
So crazy lately, nothing seems to be going right. So low, why'd you have to get so low? You're so, you've been waiting in the sun too long. But if you sing, for the love you bring won't mean a thing unless you sing. Colder, crying over your shoulder. Hold her and tell her everything. sing, 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 sing.